We have literally burned our wealth. In our greed for profit, all we have to give to our children is loss. This is both the heritage of Christianity and the agenda of the religious right and their business interests. It does not seem like a right utility. I could talk about a lot of things to make this real for you, and I simply want to talk about energy. Dee spent his in the quest for incorruptible gold, and our gold has been fossil fuels. We've all doused for oil with remarkable efficacy. It's made the West rich. It's grown our food, heated our homes, flown us around the world, produced pharmaceuticals, pesticides, war. We live in a world made of plastics, from mobile phones to MacBooks to credit cards to super colliders. And all these things are made out of one magical substance: oil. The alarming fact is, oil production on our planet peaked somewhere around 1964. We now burn 5 barrels of oil for every 1 barrel of oil that is discovered. Over the next 20 years, oil production will decline by 40%. The world that we see around us, the empire, has ended. The life we currently all enjoy is an illusion. It has literally gone up in flames. In the next 20 years, we are going to experience the most unimaginable turmoil. In 40 years, catastrophe. Many environmental predictions say in 250 years, at the most, the extinction of our species. As magicians, we should have the foresight to see this, not to stock granaries or build arks, but to bring down the lightning. Oil production is declining, which isn't a strong enough word, when the population growth curve looks essentially like a moonshot. In the last 60 years, the world's population has increased by 2.5 billion people. This has only been possible because of oil. Even at our current population levels, we need 1.5 Earths to sustain us. By 2050, there will be 9 billion people on our small planet. This is a disaster. Expert opinion is that we should double our food production now, which is an impossible task, as there's no farmland to accomplish this with. Furthermore, much of our soil has been ruined by ploughing and spraying, leaving a monocrop desert land which surrounds very much a pestilent urban sprawl. Our other major food source, the sea, is dying. Pollution, hormones and algal bloom I could talk about, but the final industrial slaughter of fish is now occurring. Revelations is wrong. There will soon be no beasts or birds in the sea. The Mitsubishi Corporation, for one, are already stockpiling frozen tuna for the extinction. Now eating many varieties of fish is the same as eating leopard or panda or any other endangered species with a cute face. This is also a holocaust which is difficult for us to see because it's happening at sea. And having grown up in a fishing community, I've seen this happen. Further, water, clean drinkable water, is one of the major resources that the next wars will be fought over. Scotland is going to be okay with this, but Africa the Indian subcontinent, Arabia and Australia would not be wise destinations to emigrate to. Europe and America seem likely that they will blockade their borders, though current strategic thinking, which is worth reading, mainly the financial pages, because they tend to be no bullshit assessments, and they're suggesting, quite cynically, that the poor will die where they are rather than migrate in sufficient numbers to cause troubles for us in the West. These documents are there to read. I don't want to do the full Holocaust speech because there's plenty that we can all look up, but I just want to give you one simple fact to take away today, which is that for every 1 calorie of food that we eat, we need 10 calories of oil to produce. That oil does not exist. The result of this is extremely stark. The population, meaning most of us, will starve. This is hard science, probably harder cut than Dürer's woodcuts. Environmentalists such as James Lovelock, whose Gaia hypothesis was so popular with neo-paganism, is now predicting a 95% die-off for the human race. And as a magician, I can say that some of our familiar spirits are telling us similar things. As Gnostics, this enables us to confront some of the basic questions. Why are we here? What are we doing? Are we ready to die? Governments, it's quite easy to see, act selfishly and short-sightedly. They're bankrolled by corporations who only have the mantra of expansion to guide them. There's no need for a conspiracy or a particular political creed. We just need oil. Control of oil requires war, and the oil to grease war is running out. The pressure is now very much on to despoil the last of our natural resources. I'm not sure if any of you saw this large oil rig that's being dragged down to the Falklands at the moment. England started to explore the possibilities of oil there.
Oh yeah, there was a resurgence in the conflict actually.
Yeah. That's because they're looking for oil.
Yeah. Argentinians have put in repeated protests.
They found it and they're drilling.
Yeah.
It started. It's not about to. It's happening.
And this is expensive oil. When you first find a resource like coal, for example, you pick up the coal on the surface, and then later you start to dig for coal, and then you start to push the seams further. The same process has happened with oil. So the easy oil has all been got. The Saudis at the moment, if you look at what the Saudis are doing, they're drilling offshore because the Saudi oil fields are all but depleted. Saudi Arabia is probably the biggest oil producer on earth, and they've run out. It's something worth keeping in mind when you watch the news and you watch the oil stories.
About 3 years ago, the Saudi Arabia started a program to get foreign companies to invest in Saudi Arabia because the oil is basically, as you see, running out.
It's running out. That's what I mean. So, the question is what we do as magicians. And if as magicians we understand that our spirits live in the plants and the animals and the minerals and the environment around us, and come to our aid when we petition them, at least. No worries. At what stage do we as magicians decide that we should come to their aid? We can simply stand by and watch, whether you want to single out the Rothschilds or the Bilderbergers or the heads of industry or the petrochemical companies. Should we simply stand back and watch them rape the remains of our planet? Magic, in our experience, is about taking action. Magic has been the weapon of the oppressed, whether that's Haitian slaves or the witch's Sabbath. In the original tarot, the card 16 made kings fear for their lives because it showed them that all towers fall, all can be toppled. If magic is simply about self-help, then perhaps now is the time for us to start to bring some change.